Hey everybody, thanks so much for coming. This meeting is a success going in because of the organizing, just putting the meeting together. And I have high hopes for what's going to come out of today. And one of the reasons we're holding this meeting is because the Eel River Recovery Project won a forest health grant, $5.9 million to fix projects here in Laytonville. Locally generated jobs. Copious amounts of wood coming out the backside that we can make houses or furniture or anything with. But that's not what I'm talking about exactly. So Cheyenne is going to help me. And so it is, oh gosh, it's the wrong PowerPoint. Thank you, CAL FIRE. CAL FIRE is amazingly supportive. When we got awarded this grant, I responded on August 4th, and they'd approved our grant by August 7th. But now I'm going to tell you a little story about how this all came down. I got to look backwards and, well, that's not going to work. All right. Hit the next slide. So, Eel River Recovery Project since 2011, corporation since 2016, engage, enlighten, and empower. And we work on solutions. We're not an advocacy-based group. And citizens, at our initial scopings, like, are fish going extinct? How come the river's toxic? And, why is it drying up? And so we started to frame these things with citizen monitoring, which, when you put something forward in a hypothesis, it's not very threatening, but you still get to the same place. And so we were able, and as we went through these things, forest health wasn't on the list in 2011, and I'll show you how we got there. Okay, I need this one. So, we were pretty much about citizen monitoring, Patagonia grants for $5,000, Rose Foundation grants. Bruce Hillbeck-Barger and Jeff Hedin set up a wilderness committee, which was a movement within a movement. That was pretty much funded by Rose. And then we got a Coastal Conservancy grant. And so we were able to scope everybody in the basin, send them all questionnaires. And we were able to define what are the problems, what are the solutions, who wants to play. It was supposed to be about fixing riparian zones. We're doing that. It's supposed to be about fixing gullies, stopping erosion. We're doing that. It's supposed to be about water conservation. We're doing that. But it wasn't supposed to be about forest health. But we put our crack hydrology team of Thomas Gass Associates to work, and watch what they found. So when we compared Streeter Creek and Big Rock Creek, which are very beautiful systems but altered, with Elder Creek, which is not altered, this is what we found. Well, Elder, it's like a shrine. Next. Big Rock is beautiful when it's got water. And Streeter is the same. And they have much more ecological potential than they're currently manifesting. And we were surprised to find out why. This is a graph. Not everybody loves them. Months of the year. Notice that Elder Creek has a slow descent. And then it hits the bottom. And then it doesn't have another point of inflection until it gets cold at night when the flow goes back up, because that's when the trees are shutting off. And then you see Big Rock in green and Streeter in blue. And what's the chatter? Day, night, day, night, day, night. It's evapotranspiration. We thought it was going to be agricultural diversion, and in fact, there was very little in either basin, and it was the trees. Go. This is from Forest Sciences Lab, and they held a symposium next. Stubblefield et al. I commend it to your attention. Upper Mattole, 30 to 50% less water in second growth overstock forest versus old growth. That's what's going on. In Tenmile, you have the other thing of, like, if you put gullies in your meadows, they're no longer a sponge. And if the fir overtops the oak doesn't drink in the summer, the fir drinks like a fish. And so what we have is we have a combination of overstock forest from logging and incursion of fir and oak. And so both of those are desiccating the flows in the watershed. And I believe it's bigger, significantly, than human use. Okay, not yet. So, Tenmile Creek Watershed Council. They said, Pat, all of this stuff is good, and we're glad you're handling it, but forest health is what you need to pay attention to. Next. And then right here in this very room, does that look familiar? January 25th, 2020. What's that? 5 days before COVID. And so the Tenmile Creek Watershed Council was untracked by COVID. It's still a nonprofit shell of trees and could still be reinvigorated, and there's some interest in the board for others to collaborate. That's a breakout session at 3:15, and Kerry Reynolds is from Trees, so we could talk about that. Next. So, Tim Bailey, he's going to talk in a minute. He said, Pat, there's a forest health grant from the North Coast Resource Partnership, and you should, do something. Boom. And we won it. We asked for 150, we got 120, and we devised, click the next one, it might say something about this. Oh, there's a team. Heather Morrison, forester extraordinaire, Steve Smith, a sage, Ken Baldwin, the same, Bill Wilkinson, that's B&W out of BBW. Greg Bloomstrom isn't in the picture. They're helping us now with our big grant. Woods Wilson, Steve Brown, Emil Ferrara, he's on my board, Dr. Mike Jones, Tim Bailey volunteered, and Humboldt's DA, Joe Snipes, and James Lamping. And we went out and we found out everything's overstocked. I mean, sometimes I wish I didn't know. Every time I look around, I go, oh, that's bad forest health. But it's overstocked, huh? Okay, it's overstocked. There's an oak in there, go. And the grasslands, they're full of gullies, and they're cheatgrass and brome, and they're gonna blow up if we don't fix them, and we can restore native grasses. And I couldn't believe what sweethearts the clients were. This is Lower Tenmile. We wrote plans for them, go. Okay, well, there was a slide we missed, but we wrote forest health management plans for them that'd get them an EQIP grant or a CFIP grant, but you have to match, and it didn't really work. So then we met in Leggett on 11/13/2021, and it was a magical meeting. And Jeff Adine said, there's $5 million that we have to go into the hills, and everyone clapped. And Jeff later asked me if he had made a good speech. I told him, if people stand up and cheer, you made a good speech. Go. So everything should be documented. In this meeting today, when we do breakouts, somebody write it down, and then somebody write it up, and then something can happen. Then they met on 12/12/2021, and the Northern Mendocino Ecosystem Recovery Alliance, say that fast 3 times, was formed. And we were able to, at the first event, somebody walked up to Cheyenne Clark and gave her $9,000. So that was burning a hole in my pocket. So right in the middle down there, I gave $5,000 to NMERA on the day they were formed. And then they said, we got to get some of that work. And then they went to work on the Redwood Forest Foundation lands. And then Tim Bailey said, Pat, there's even bigger fish in the sea. There's a forest health grant you got to go get. So who are you going to call? BBW. Mark. Andre. Better know that. No, back. Back. No. That, no. Cheyenne, don't get nervous. Carrie's going to hook me. Okay, all right, just relax. See, when you're tense, the computer knows. All right, so we got Mark to help us, but Ben O'Neill sitting right over there, crawled all over the side hill. He made friends with the landowners. He made the maps, or he got the plans on the ground.